This season, a new hot deal has arrived at Metro. $25 a line for 4 lines with all the data you need and 4 free Samsung Galaxy A15 5G phones. Getting Metro's best deals is easy. No ID required, no activation fees. Get a new number or keep your own. It's up to you. That's 4 lines for $25 a line, plus 4 free phones. Visit a store or go online today. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
When you join Metro Plus Tax. For a limited time and subject to change. Max 1 offer per account.
From automated assembly lines to smart factories, manufacturing is going digital and fast. If you want to stay relevant, you need the right tech skills. CBT Nuggets helps you get there with practical, easy-to-follow IT training. Build in-demand skills in networking, cybersecurity, and system automation without investing in costly hardware or struggling with complicated setups. Our short, engaging videos and hands-on virtual labs make learning simple and effective. Whether you're a technician on the floor, a manager leading teams, or an engineer optimizing systems, CBT Nuggets fits your schedule and meets you where you are. Train at your own pace, from any device, wherever it works for you. And with new content added regularly, there's always something relevant to learn. Join thousands of professionals who are leveling up their careers with CBT Nuggets. Right now, you can start a 7-day free trial and explore everything we offer, no commitment required. Go to cbtnuggets.com today. Because in modern manufacturing, better tech skills mean better opportunities.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Josh, all alone with you guys today, bringing you the final mock draft 7.0 for the Browns 2025 pre-draft process. We've made it. We've gotten here. We are just now days away from the final true answers about what the Browns are going to do in the draft. It has been a ton of fun, this entire pre-draft process, but like a lot of you, like a lot of fans in general, I think we're kind of over the hypothetical projection process, and let's just get down to the nitty-gritty analyzing who is actually going to be putting on the orange helmets in 2025. So I'm going to go through my last mock draft predictions here today. I was originally going to have some trades in here, and then I kind of pulled back on that a little bit because I didn't want to project too many trades, considering that Andrew Berry really does not trade a ton throughout the NFL draft historically in the last 5 years that he has been doing this for the Browns. So I didn't want to do too much of that, but just understand, as we expect on Thursday night, there to be possibly some movement from the Browns getting back in the first round to more than likely target a quarterback. Speaking of Thursday night, I just want to say, join us. We are doing the entire first round live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. So make sure, especially like on YouTube, tap the notification bell, like this video, and then make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss when we go live with anything in the future, but especially draft night. It's going to be a ton of fun. I mean, we did an episode last week in the studio, in the new studio, which is really awesome. I got some lighting things I need to work on in there that just weren't ready in time, but we wanted to do a show anyway. But anyway, that should be ready for Thursday. If you watch that episode, you know that Blake went off about Jalen Milroe, and it was, I think, a lot of fun for some viewers. They got a kick out of it. But that is totally vintage, authentic Blake. He does not put on a show when he does those types of things. He really does not like Jalen Milroe, who I think is a strong possibility the Browns are targeting on night one. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Make sure you guys tune in for that. Before I dive into anything here with the mock draft and all that kind of stuff, I just want to preface this episode. I am recording this on Friday this week. So if there's any big news that comes out on Saturday or, Sunday in the morning time or whatever, just bear with me. I was not able to cover that, obviously. Got a busy weekend going on here with Easter and family get-togethers on Saturday and Sunday. So going to be out of the house, out of town. It's going to be a great weekend, just very busy. So I wanted to get this episode put together and available for you guys on Sunday afternoon and evening, wrapping up your Easter holiday. I hope you guys all had a great Easter. I hope the weekend was a lot of fun for you and your families. The kiddos had a great time doing their Easter egg hunts. I know that's all my 4-year-old is talking about, is looking for eggs and finding all the eggs. And he knows where they're going to be, and he knows what's going to be in them, and it's all going to be good stuff. And I keep thinking, I would like that kind of confidence going into the draft for the Browns, that they know where the gems are. They're going to find them, and they're going to get them. We will see how it goes. But let's dive in, to some NFL draft talk. I talked about this on mock draft like 1.0. I think I reiterated a little bit of these notes on 2.0. But I want to go through my notes on Andrew Berry historically in the draft for the Browns, what he has done over the last 5 seasons. I just want to hit these quick notes before we dive into the actual mock draft picks so we can remind ourselves what he has done and where he's placed value in the past. So Andrew Berry, in 5 drafts, he has taken 7 offensive linemen. That is the most drafted position group of them all for Andrew Berry in the last 5 years. He has drafted 5 wide receivers. That is the second most on offense. He has never picked a wide receiver higher than the 3rd round. A lot of caveats with some of these things. We haven't had very many picks higher than the 3rd round over his tenure here. So that might be a little skewed. Harrison Bryant is the only tight end he's ever drafted, and DTR was the only quarterback he has ever drafted. Very much expect them to draft those positions this season. Defensive tackle. This is a big one. He has taken at least 1 defensive tackle in every draft. He has never taken his first defensive tackle later than the 4th round. So we'll see where he takes the defensive tackle this draft, because you know he's going to take one. He has taken 5 DTs to just 3 defensive ends. And then I did do a weighted score. I'm not going to go over all that. Maybe I'll post it on social. So just follow us at the Dogs Podcast everywhere if you want to see that chart. That'll be coming later in the week prior to the draft. But the weighted score based on my method for defensive tackle was 25. Defensive end was just 10. And the way they've loaded up on defensive tackle and edge rushers and that outside presence through the free agency process, I think they're probably skipping D-end in this draft. But we'll see. Maybe the value falls to them at some point and they just can't pass it up. He has drafted just 2 safeties in 5 years. Grant Delpit in the 2nd and then Richard LeCounte in the 5th. LeCounte was not around for very long. He has taken 4 linebackers, 4 cornerbacks, and their weighted scores were equal, 16-16. So I had in here my notes, the notion that I think some of us have about Andrew Berry taking a cornerback in every draft and how he prioritizes that position is not really the case. They did not draft a cornerback in 2020. They did spend a 1st-round pick on Greg Newsome in 21 and then a 3rd on Emerson in 2022. But that is really it as far as significant capital on the cornerback position. For linebackers, JOK was a 2nd-round pick. And then remember, we had Jacob Phillips back in the 3rd round of 2020. So kind of similar in terms of the day 1, day 2 capital used on linebackers versus cornerbacks and all that kind of stuff. Again, cornerback, don't know if that's going to be a huge priority in the draft, especially not early on. I should say strictly cornerback. And then linebacker, we've signed so many linebackers in free agency. I don't see a need to draft one, but we'll see what they do. Also, he has used a 1 pick on a kicker with Cade York in the 4th round a few years ago. So never drafted a punter. Obviously, you don't draft those. And that rounds out all the position groups. So let's dive in. I was thinking about doing some of recapping Andrew Berry's press conference from yesterday, his pre-draft comments and all that kind of stuff. But I think I'll just kind of interject those things as little tidbits throughout as we go. All right, let's dive in. Has not changed. Round 1, pick 2, Travis Hunter, the wide receiver cornerback from Colorado. There's really not a whole lot more in terms of notes and things that I need to tell you guys about Travis Hunter. You know the story. If you don't, go back and watch a few of our episodes in the past couple of weeks. We've talked a ton about Travis Hunter. The upside is enormous. Andrew Berry's press conference the other day spent a substantial amount of time at the press conference talking about Travis Hunter. He was obviously asked questions about Travis Hunter, but he did not hold back. He did not limit his praise of Hunter, compared him to Ohtani from Major League Baseball, the pitcher / hitter, the guy that can do both things at a high level, called him a unicorn, all that kind of stuff. I know there's been a lot of pushback or, maybe a little backlash from some fans on social media saying you can't compare him to Ohtani, blah, blah, blah. I was talking to Blake the other day in our group chat, and I said, I actually like the comparison to Ohtani because you're talking about a position in baseball that before he came in and did it, nobody ever thought that type of thing would be possible. If you said, oh yeah, this guy's going to come in and be a high-level pitcher and a high-level batter. No, he's not. That's impossible. Can't happen. That's stupid because it's never been done before. But for me, the comparison to Ohtani with Travis Hunter is, look, just because we've never seen anybody come into the NFL and do this before doesn't mean that it can't happen. It just means we haven't had that situation happen yet. And again, before, say Travis Hunter does do this, we'll look back and say, yeah, we thought that was impossible. But now that we've actually seen it on the field, we're like, wow, this is a very exceptional player. And, Andrew Berry did reiterate that Travis Hunter's primary, I'm trying to remember the verbiage exactly, something like, we're going to ease him into things at first, with his first home being at wide receiver, his second home being on the defensive side of the ball. So again, just doubling down on the Travis Hunter is a primarily a wide receiver, which is what Andrew Berry has said all draft process. So at 2, I'd be happy with it, man. I think Travis Hunter is the best football player in this draft. He's a hell of an athlete, student of the game, and what I want out of all the picks, all my mock draft picks here today. We talked about it on the show with Kenny the other night. Analytics are great. They're a great complement to help you make a decision or help you decide between this player or that player or what have you. I don't want it to be what leads my decision on players. That's where you end up with guys like Anthony Schwartz. That's where you end up with a Siaki Ika, or however they came to those conclusions on terrible, terrible players that, looking back, it's like, did you really think they were going to be good? I want good football players. I want guys that have shown on the field that they can play the game, that they understand the game, they have a high football IQ, and they have a strong football character. I want guys that just grind, that just want to play football, and they're not overly distracted. Yes, you have hobbies, and I know now it's a job in the NFL and all that stuff, but just come do it at a high level and make it your mission to be the best player you can be. Travis Hunter checks all those boxes for me. So we will not spend too much more time on Travis Hunter. We'll move on to pick 33. This is where I was kind of considering doing the trade up into the first round for a quarterback, but it's just so open-ended this year. We could have 4? We could have 5 quarterbacks if you count Tyler Shuck and all the first round buzz he's getting here in the last month or so. I mean, you could potentially see 5 quarterbacks go in the first round in a weak quarterback draft per everybody who knows what they're talking about or thinks they know what they're talking about. Or we could see 1. You could see Cam Ward start the round and that's it. I don't expect that to be the case, but it's possible. You could see 2 go. You could see 3. So anywhere from 1 to 5, honestly, you could see quarterbacks going in the first round. So it's really hard to project if the Browns would trade up, where they would trade up to. I'm sure they're playing out all the different scenarios, but I don't have time to do that. So we are sticking and picking at 33. Round 2, pick 1, and it is Blake's favorite player, Jalen Milroe, quarterback from Alabama. I say that jestingly because he hates him, but that's all good. The Browns get their long-term project at quarterback. Andrew Berry did say in his press conference that their thought is about making the best long-term bet at quarterback. And when he was asked about Jalen Milroe, he did say he's the only quarterback in the league who will be faster than Lamar Jackson. I mean, to even compare him to Lamar Jackson was maybe silly, but honestly, at the same time, maybe intentional. It's the thing with Andrew Berry. He really doesn't say anything that he doesn't want you to hear. So it's kind of hard to dissect some of the things he says at times, but the connections with Jalen Milroe have been there ever since they hired Tommy Rees last season, honestly, out of Alabama when he was their OC, and then they promoted him to the OC for the Browns this year. And Milroe really is a long-term bet. The QB situation actually sets up perfectly to do this. in my opinion. And why do I say that? One, Browns trade for Kenny Pickett. And then what do? Hype the living you-know-what out of him, which is what Kevin Stefanski has done repeatedly at every opportunity he's had to do it. And then what do you do after you hype the crap out of Kenny Pickett? You get the fans second, or you go trade for Joe Flacco. Total fan favorite quarterback. There is no way in 2025 that the majority of fans are going to be clamoring for Jalen Milroe to start when we've got the super hyped up, what's the potential for Kenny Pickett? And then you got Flacco fever, wacko for Flacco, flack around and find out. The quarterback room kind of sits up pretty nicely. It's a good situation to bring in the most athletic quarterback in this draft. Jalen Milroe actually has probably the highest ceiling outside of maybe Cam Ward if Milroe can just get his mechanics coached up, which I know Blake said the other night on the show about, well, if he's such a hard worker, then why wasn't he fixing his mechanics during the season when they were actually playing football? I talked about that on a few episodes, maybe last week it was. I can't remember exactly when, but you're not going to switch up your throwing motion and your mechanics mid-season. I mean, that's kind of like making major changes to your golf swing in the middle of a big tournament. You're not going to do that because you're just going to throw everything off. What Jalen Milroe was doing during the season was working good enough for Alabama. So they're not trying to coach him up during the season. This is off-season training program kind of stuff. And what has he been doing this entire offseason? He got with Jordan Palmer to work on his quarterback footwork, mechanics, and everything. And he has been working his tail off to improve these things. And those are the things. It's not his arm strength. It's not his processing, even though people like to harp on the processing. It's not his, ability to read defenses, even though people harp on that. No, what is the one thing that stands between Jalen Milroe being a project and being a legitimate NFL starting quarterback? It's his footwork. It's his mechanics. And he is already working very hard to correct those things. This episode is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Browns fan, the best thing about spring, aside from the NFL draft, of course, is grilling outside, getting out in the nice weather, and cooking up your favorite foods from Omaha Steaks. From their handcrafted steaks to spring grilling favorites, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. Enjoy USDA certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, and so much more. I talk all the time. You guys know my freezer is stocked full of Omaha Steaks products all year round, but now it's finally time to get outside, fire up the grill, and do everything the right way. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every single bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. And each steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand cut by their master butchers. So bring home the world's best steak experience with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their spring savings event. And for an extra $30 off, use promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code BARK when you check out. See site for details.
This season, a new hot deal has arrived at Metro. $25 a line for 4 lines with all the data you need and 4 free Samsung Galaxy A15 5G phones. Getting Metro's best deals is easy. No ID required, no activation fees. Get a new number or keep your own. It's up to you. That's 4 lines for $25 a line, plus 4 free phones. Visit a store or go online today. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
When you join Metro Plus Tax, for a limited time and subject to change. Max 1 offer per account.
Hackers don't need much. Just one leaked password can potentially unlock a treasure trove of personal information, leading to stress, pain, and permanently wrecked credit. Don't be an easy target. Get protection by Aura today. Aura protects your identity, finances, and family, all in one powerful app. Get real-time alerts, safeguard your accounts, and block scams before they happen. If identity theft strikes, we help you recover. Stay protected at aura.com/listen. That's AURA.com/listen.
So I did call him a project quarterback, but this is one thing, and I'm going to post this on socials and get some feedback. I'm sure we'll all be super polite and positive, right? How much of a project really is Jalen Milroe? So I wanted to look at the career college stats for some notable project quarterbacks coming into the NFL over recent seasons. So I'm going to look at Jalen Milroe versus Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Anthony Richardson. Those quarterbacks go back and look when they were drafted. They were all considered projects. There was no pro readiness. There was no start from day one type of anything with any of these quarterbacks. So career completion percentage in college. These are all college stats. So this is when these guys were picked, boom, right out of college. We have no NFL data or analytics on these guys because it hasn't started yet. Jalen Hurts completion percentage in college, 65.2%. And then number 2 on the list is Jalen Milroe at 64.3%. So for everybody that says he's not accurate, he sucked in college, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, he's number 2 on this list in terms of completion percentage at 64.3. And then it's Patrick Mahomes at 63.5. Lamar Jackson the next 3 guys are under 60%. Lamar Jackson was at 57 for his college career. Josh Allen at 56.2% and Anthony Richardson down at 54.7%. Those were abysmal college completion percentages. And then you look at career interception rates. Jalen Hurts was at a 1.9%. He was number 1 on the list as terms of number 1 being the best. Patrick Mahomes, second best at 2.1%. Lamar Jackson, 2.5%. Then Jalen Milroe at 3%. And then Josh Allen at 3.2%. And then Anthony Richardson at 3.8%. What about career touchdown percentages? Jalen Hurts, again at the top of the list, 7.6%. Patrick Mahomes, 6.9%. And then Jalen Milroe at 6.8%. Josh Allen at 6.8%, Lamar Jackson at 6.4%, and Anthony Richardson at the bottom, 6.1%. What about career pass yards per game? As the starter, I put in my notes here because they obviously played some games here or there, just came in to fill in at times. But as the starter, Patrick Mahomes dominated this list in college. He averaged 351 yards per game in that massive air raid offense down there at Texas Tech. Lamar Jackson, number 2 at 238. And then Jalen Milroe at 218 passing yards per game. Jalen Hurts then at 202. Josh Allen at 196. And Anthony Richardson clear down at 129. How about total QB rating in college? Jalen Hurts again at the top, 162.7, followed by number 2, Jalen Milroe, 156.8. Patrick Mahomes was at 152. Lamar Jackson, 142.9, Josh Allen, 137.7. And Anthony Richardson at the bottom, 133.6. I think we're starting to understand why Anthony Richardson isn't working out. And finally, total games played, because there's a lot of who's got the most experience in college. Jalen Hurts had 56 games played, and then followed number 2 by Jalen Milroe, 38 games played. Lamar Jackson also had 38 games played. Mahomes had 32, Josh Allen 27, and Anthony Richardson just 24, with only 1 season as the starter. So every single one of these quarterbacks on this list has worked out in the NFL, except for, of course, Anthony Richardson, who had the least college experience of them all. He had the worst completion percentage of them all. He had the lowest touchdown rate of them all. He had the worst interception rate of them all. It's kind of obvious why he's not working out right now early on in his career in the NFL. Oh, and by the way, he was picked number 4 overall in the draft. So for anybody comparing Jalen Milroe to Anthony Richardson, I hope these stats kind of help paint the picture of why that's not an accurate comparison. Milroe's got way more experience. He's got a way better completion percentage. He's got a way lower, based on this list, he's got a much lower interception rate, a much higher touchdown rate, way higher pass yards per game, super higher quarterback rating, all this stuff. So I understand people will say, turn on the tape, you look like crap in 24, blah, blah, blah. He was not as bad as he may have seemed, or what the media or social media people are hyping him up to be. And I think that's why you're hearing first round buzz about him. That is why he has been invited to the NFL draft and is expected to either be a first round pick or a very early second round pick. So that's kind of my spiel here on Jalen Milroe. I'll kind of back off. I know I'm the only one on the podcast who's actually in on him, but we'll see what happens on draft night. I think that there's a lot of potential there. you guys let me know, please, in the comments, and be as mean as you want. I really don't care. Trust me. I've heard worse. You ain't going to hurt my feelings. But let me know. Let's talk about it. Okay. Whew, that was a lot. Let's just keep moving on with this mock draft. Pick 67, third pick in the third round. I wanted to trade up for Quinshon Judkins, but I just could not figure out a trade value based on the charts that I liked without giving up too much capital that I was already planning to use on some other players that I really like in this draft. So I did not do that. Thought about putting Cam Scatterbo here. Did not want to do that either because at the end of the day, while his production was unreal in 2024, he just does not have the explosion and stuff that I really want in a guy who's going to be a workhorse back. So I went back to the old mock drafts and I said, I'm bringing back one of my clear favorite running backs in this draft who should be available in this range, and it is Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa. 6'1", 225, 21 years old, so he's a young, big, bruising guy. He had a 4.57 in his 40, and that slow 40 time might work in the Browns' favor because, while he did not blaze at the 40, watch the tape. His football speed, this guy will run away from people in a heartbeat. He is so fast in football terms. Track speed isn't really there, but again, if we're going to say we don't care about Jalen Milroe running in the Underwear Olympics, then I don't care about Caleb Johnson in the Underwear Olympics. I want to see what he does on the field, and he's awesome. He's the workhorse back the Browns are looking for. He's got a 3-down skill set, and he really, honestly, the big knock on him, or the main knock, he just needs to work on his pass protection, which get him in here reduced daily. Hopefully they can improve that area with him. But this is a guy who had 240 carries last year, 1,537 yards, and 21 touchdowns. That's the same as Cam Scatterbo. A huge, just strong nose for the end zone. He also caught 22 passes, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 6.4 yards per carry. Love this stat here. 1,060 yards after contact. 1,060 yards after his first being contacted. 4.42 yards after contact per attempt was the second highest in this class, behind only Ashton Genty. So this is a dude, get him the ball, and we saw so many times last year, as soon as Jerome got the ball, boom, hit at the line, down. 0 yard gain, -1 yard gain. Now we're at 2nd and 11. It was frustrating. Caleb Johnson is the type of player where if that kind of stuff happens and he gets hit, on average, he's getting almost 4.5 more yards after he gets hit. So he is the type of player that just continues to churn for hard-earned yards. Now, one thing I did have in my notes from before, you can't just one-to-one translate, yards and stuff like that to the NFL. But one stat that we have found that does translate, or what they call sticky, as they sometimes say, into the NFL is touchdowns. So if you have a nose for the end zone in college, your odds of being a good touchdown scorer in the NFL are much higher. So 21 touchdowns, like I said, 4th most in the nation, tied with Cam Scatterbo. It's awesome. I love Caleb Johnson, and if he's available at 67, they didn't trade up for Judkins. I'd rather have him over Scatterbo personally, so that's why I'm taking him here in my final mock draft. All right, 94 round 3, pick 30. This is a pick that I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't going to agree with. I don't know if the guys on the show would agree with me because it's not offense. I'm breaking the mold here. I'm going to break the trend. We went 3 offensive picks to kick off the draft, but now we're switching over to defense because this guy is still available here at the end of the 3rd round for me. And if he is, and I'm Andrew Berry, I got to take him. Kevin Winston Jr., the safety out of Penn State, 6'2", 215 pounds, a big football player, 22 years old. So he is still very young. He is talented. This is NFL draft profile. Talented, but relatively inexperienced due to a season-ending injury in 2024. Winston has NFL size and traits, but is lacking in the instincts and recognition column on the back end. So he's more of a strong safety in the box safety than he is like a deep free safety. He is much better when he's engaged in playing forward, where his play strength and consistency as a tackler stands out. He can cover both inline and slot tight ends and hassle their catch space. However, he does struggle with anticipation and footwork when asked to play on top of the defense. Safeties with traits and tackle talent usually stick around as starters, but Winston might be somewhat limited unless he develops his field recognition enough to handle what NFL passing schemes will throw at him. So in 2024, this guy had 13 tackles and a forced fumble in just 2 games before he suffered a knee injury that cost him the season. Go back to 2023. Kevin Winston Jr. played the entire season. He led the entire team at Penn State with 61 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss. He had a pick, and he had 5 pass breakups. Now, why I'm picking Kevin Winston Jr. here is because he is the type of player, again, just a good football player. Here, I'm betting a lot more on the talent and the traits than I am the production, obviously. But for Kevin Winston Jr., the guy, from everything I've read, does not miss tackles. He is a tackling machine. There's a good chance we don't have JOK in 2025. All right. There's a good chance we do not have JOK, or at least for a portion of the season. He might be not available or at the very least limited. Now you get a guy who's very similar in size, and he can do similar things to what JOK can do. And what I heard Jared Moeller from Dogs by Nature talking about was moving Grant Delpit back more into the free safety role where he did play in college, and he can play that role pretty well. Now you've got Ronnie Hickman to kind of be the support guy for Grant Delpit on the back end. You get Kevin Winston Jr. to come in here and play your safety in the box, or can roll over into that joker linebacker role for JOK. I think that Kevin Winston Jr. here would be a slam dunk pick for what we're asking him to do initially. Again, like they're talking about here, he needs to continue to develop his recognition and his coverage skills and all that kind of stuff to kind of be a more well-rounded safety. But if we're going to lean toward using him as a more in the box safety / hybrid linebacker role for JOK's kind of replacement, hey, I'm all on board. I heard one analyst, and this is what has stuck with me for a while now. They were talking about Kevin Winston Jr., and they said if it weren't for his knee injury in 2024, we would most likely be talking about him in the same breath as Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia, who is projected to go in the first round. So the talent is all there for Kevin Winston Jr., and I think this is a good opportunity for a team like the Browns to recoup some very good value later on, or kind of later on day 2, let's say, and get Kevin Winston Jr. in here, the safety out of Penn State. 104, round 4, pick 4. I think this guy probably will fall a little bit in the draft, whether it's this far. We'll see kind of what the NFL thinks of him, but I'm taking him here because we got to get guys in this position. Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end out of Bowling Green, again, talked about him on the show the other night. Kenny talked about him last week. I did him on my last mock draft. I'm not going to dive too far into Harold Fannin Jr. here. Again, not the biggest, fastest, strongest guy, a little bit by NFL standards, undersized for the position, all that kind of stuff, but he's just 20 years old. He's only been playing tight end for 3 years, and for a guy who's that young to have only been playing the position for 3 years to go dominate, okay, not just excel or stand out, but dominate college football at the tight end position, I can't pass him up. I got to have him. I got to have that type of football player on my team. He led the entire nation in receptions, targets. He led the entire nation in yards. He was one of the leader. What was he? Number 2, I think, in yak yards. The guy is unbelievable. And for the Browns to not have a tight end 2 and to not really have a good slot receiver, a guy like Harold Fannin can help you fill multiple roles. He can do multiple things. He's a scheme versatile type of player, and he's very coachable. He was a defensive back in high school, went to Bowling Green as a defensive back. They asked him to move over to tight end. So he did, and he excelled there. So he's already got the track record of whatever the coaches are going to ask him to do, he's going to do, and he's not just going to do it, but he's going to make sure he does it well and to the best of his ability. And it sounds like his ability is pretty damn good. So give me Harold Fannin Jr. here at pick 104. Moving on then to 179, the Browns have a big stretch from 104 to 179 since they traded their 5th round pick to Philly for Kenny Pickett. So to kind of kick off the 6th round here with pick 3, the Browns are taking Riley Mills, the defensive tackle from Notre Dame. I've done him in at least one, maybe two of my other mock drafts. I just can't quit this guy. 6'5", 290 pounds. He earned the number 10 spot on Bruce Feldman's freaks list, so he's a freak lister. Athletic abilities and traits just off the charts. Let's see, last season in 2024, he had 7.5 sacks and 8.5 tackles for loss. NFL Profile says Riley Mills has above average size and length. He has the elite play speed and can close down on ball carriers in a hurry. An average run defender who doesn't play with consistent leverage is a skilled pass rusher who can utilize a multitude of moves to get past linemen, consistently wins his pass rushing reps, had an 18.9% pass rush win rate in true pass sets in 2024. He posted elite production in 2024. Like I said, he had the 7.5 sacks and they gave him 9 tackles for loss. He accumulated a respectable 114 pressures across 1,033 pass rushing snaps. He is an elite tackler who has missed less than 6% of his career tackling attempts. So Mills has the size, strength, demeanor of a 3-4 defensive end. He's aggressive and physical in a phone booth fist fights, but plays off blocks and tackles the gaps around him. He's not much of a knee bender, so anchoring firm will get a lot tougher as a pro. He lacks explosive, twitchy movements as a rusher, but he makes good use of heavy hands to carve open edges and get into the pocket. He's a better picker than twister and can bull rush unsuspecting guards. Mills could become a 3-down rotational piece, provided there are no lingering issues from the torn ACL he suffered in the college football playoff. So he did tear his ACL late in the season, but the Browns are in a position here where they've got a lot of defensive linemen, interior linemen already on the roster. They would not be expecting Riley Mills to come in here and do much. And I mean, we're talking about a 6th-round pick here. So come in here, get healthy, and just get adapted to the NFL landscape. He's a very scheme-versatile player. I know some of that NFL Profile stuff talked about maybe he needs to develop more in the run defense game, but I read some other stuff where they said he's actually really good in the run defense game. He's a high motor player. He's just the type of, again, he's a football player, and that's what I want. The physical gifts off the charts. Everything I've read says like he's got these freak athletic traits and a true understanding of how to use them. So again, yes, just like Kevin Winston Jr., another guy coming off an injury in college, but hey, sometimes that juice is just worth the squeeze on these players who could be much higher picks in the draft if it weren't for those injuries. We kind of got a discount on Zach Zinter last year, I feel. And here, like I said, in the 6th round, I'll squeeze that juice all day long. Hey, Browns fans, we just want to remind you guys, go check out the Living for We podcast. Living for We, keep your head up, addresses the troubles of gun violence and offers solutions for those who want to better their community. You'll hear from Amir and Drew, 2 black men who picked up a gun as kids because they felt they had no other choice. Andre Taylor, a community leader stepping into schools to break the cycle. Walter Patton, founder of Ghetto Therapy, bringing mental health support straight into the neighborhood. These are real stories, real struggles, and real solutions. Living for We is an award-winning podcast from Idea Stream Public Media, part of the Connecting the Dots Between Race and Health initiative. This season, host Maureen Harris-Taylor and her new co-host Maisha Watkins, executive director of the Cleveland Peacemakers, bring you stories from the front lines, victims, survivors, and those fighting for change. New episodes drop every Tuesday, and they started last month on February 11th. Listen to Living for We wherever you get your podcast or watch the video version on IdeaStream's YouTube channel. Learn more at ideastream.com/podcast/living-for-we. Yep, we're in the 6th round. We still got 4 to go, guys. So this one's going to be round 6, pick 16 at 192 is Jack Nelson, the offensive tackle out of Wisconsin. 6'7", 315, 22 years old. He is a durable 4-year starter with Wisconsin football racing through his blood. His dad also played offensive line, I believe, for Wisconsin. He's a better run blocker than pass protector on tape with the quickness and athleticism to find his landmarks on move blocks. He operates with good strain and technique on base and drive blocks, but he won't create much push. Nelson's pass sets can feel frantic with disheveled footwork, inconsistent body control, and an anchor that could struggle to withstand NFL speed to power. He does need to get stronger, but his instincts and awareness in protection could pair with his range as a move blocker for consideration by zone-heavy teams. Could be a good fit for the Browns, especially at that swing tackle position. Now, we're talking about versatile scheme fits as well. 2021, he started 13 games at right guard, and then in 22, 12 games at left tackle, 23, 13 games at left tackle, 24, 12 games at left tackle. So this guy has played a ton of football. Comes from Wisconsin. I mean, that is just a good school to pick out a lineman from. And I think Jack Nelson could be a very good pick for the Browns here in the 6th round. Also, a good pick for the Browns in the 6th round. We have 2 more of these 6th-round picks, by the way. Pick 200, the 24th pick in the 6th round, Jaquavius Marks, running back out of USC, or as you may have heard him referred to as his nickname, Woody Marks. And yes, his nickname does come from Toy Story because it was his favorite movie growing up. Woody Marks is 5'10", 207 pounds. Now, he is 24 years old, so the age might have him off of Andrew Berry's draft board, but late in the 6th round, do we really care? I just need a freaking running back. NFL Draft Profile says that Woody Marks balances patience with decisiveness, setting blocks into defenders and then bursting past the collision. He glides through lanes with good vision and enough shake to create missed tackles over the first 2 levels. He does lack breakaway speed in the open field and contact power between the tackles. He's highly experienced and has sure hands as a pass catcher. I want to talk about that. With the ability to elude the first tackler in space, Marks projects as a slashing complementary back capable of finding yardage and adding value on passing downs. Complimentary back to Caleb Johnson. I would love if the Browns do this type of thing. You get a guy like Caleb Johnson who can kind of be your primary lead workhorse type of running back, but then you get somebody to pair him with, like a Woody Marks, who can come in and still be very effective, but also has a complementary skill set. You're not just repeating the same type of stuff. 198 carries, 1,133 yards, 9 touchdowns. He averaged 5.7 yards per carry. What I love, he caught 47 passes for 321 yards, and his receiving production during his entire college career is just absolutely outstanding. Back in 2021, for instance, he caught 83 passes for 502 yards. 83 catches is like a very solid wide receiver number, and this is a running back, and back then it was just his 2nd year, like a young running back. So again, I just think that Woody Marks would be a solid complement to Caleb Johnson, who we did take back at pick 67. All right, last pick for the Browns in the 6th round is going to be Thomas Fidone II, tight end out of Nebraska. Here at pick 216, yes, the Browns, Andrew Berry, who has only ever drafted 1 tight end in 5 seasons, is going to take not 1 but 2 tight ends in this draft, because guess what? We have no freaking tight ends on the roster outside of David Njoku. It's time to start swinging at some young guys and see what they can do. Thomas Fidone is a guy that's getting some hype right now in draft circles, and I am buying into the hype. 6'5", 245 pounds, just 22 years old. He's a long, linear with impressive athleticism, but just 2 years really of game experience due to injuries. Here we go again, right? Over his first 2 seasons. He's a willing blocker with pretty good technique, but needs to add strength to handle the work in line. He needs to become more elusive with his release and more physical at the catch point, but he is fast and fluid through his routes. He has the ability to uncover and stress the defense beyond the first level. Fidone's effort, athleticism, and ability to improve a passing game give him a chance to become a tight end 2 in the NFL. Give me that all freaking day long here at pick 216. We don't have that. We just took Harold Fannin, who is not ever going to be a true NFL tight end in the traditional mold. He's just too small to be that type of player. But you get a great production guy who can be a big slot for you and kind of alleviate some pressure on David Njoku so he can remain in line to block in situations where that's necessary. Now you get Thomas Fidone, who can do the same type of thing and could be that actual NFL, archetype tight end that teams are looking for. So again, the 2 knee injuries his first 2 seasons, yes, they're a concern, but it's, those were the first 2 seasons, but the most recent 2 seasons, he has been healthy and he has been effective. 2023 caught 25 passes for 260 yards and 4 touchdowns. He led Nebraska in receiving touchdowns. And here in 24, he had 36 catches for 373 yards, no touchdowns. But again, I don't think we're talking about the most prolific passing offense in the world. So take it for, take it with a grain of salt is what I'm trying to say. But there again, I've been hearing hype. I've been hearing people talk about Thomas Fidone as a later round or a tight end that teams can get, who could end up being much better and outproducing his draft spot. And I'm buying into it. I I've read the reports here. They talk about his high point ability in the end zone specifically. I mean, the kid just sounds like a monster down on the goal line. So I'm all in. Give me the second tight end of the draft, Thomas Fidone, here at pick 216. And then finally, let's round out the final mock draft at 255 with a pick that Browns can really go. This isn't quite Mr. Irrelevant, but it's not too far away from the tail end of the draft. Pick 35 here in the 7th round. They're going to take Ryan Fitzgerald, the kicker out of Florida State. 5'11", 195, 24 years old. Maybe I have that wrong. I can't remember. I've done a lot of copy and pasting here over my mock drafts, but he's a kicker. I'm not too worried about the age. All I know is I've seen a lot of mock drafts by Browns fans and media outlets and everything over the last couple months, and very few of them include the Browns taking a kicker. But the Browns wouldn't be crazy to use a pick on a kicker, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Dustin Hopkins got an extension last offseason, and then he proceeded to have the worst kicking season in the NFL last year. At least I think statistically it was the worst. If he wasn't the worst, he was like bottom 3 at best. Either way, atrocious. The Browns have got to address it this offseason. So Ryan Fitzgerald turned a major corner after an erratic 2022 season, and he has been a picture of consistency ever since then. He has proven he can hit the long field goal with consistent lift and ball flight. He does need to improve his hang time on his kickoffs, but he also must prove that inconsistencies with intermediate kicks are a thing of the past. Talking about that 2022 season, but in 2023 and 2024, this kid was money. In 2024, 100% on his field goals and 100% on his PATs. He was 5 for 5 from 50 yards or more. He had a long of 59. Overall, he was 13 of 13 on his field goals and 14 of 14 on his extra points. But the 2023 season, the season before this one, when Florida State was just rolling on offense and scoring a bunch of points, Ryan Fitzgerald was 58 of 58 on his PATs, and he was 57 of 58 the season before that. So yes, I know college PATs are still the short kicks, but still, I have seen plenty of kids come up and miss those kicks from time to time. He does not. In 2023, he was 19 of 21 on his field goals. So do the math. He missed just 2 kicks, not 2 field goals, missed just 2 kicks overall in the last 2 seasons. Pretty darn impressive. And he's also a guy that Barry Shuck, our guy from Dogs by Nature, spoke to at the Senior Bowl. He highlighted on our prospects episode back in March. Talked to him, seemed like a great kid and somebody that the Browns should consider drafting. So we end the draft with Ryan Fitzgerald, the kicker out of Florida State. All right, guys, that's it. Mock Draft 7.0. We are wrapping things up here in the pre-draft process this year, getting ready for the real thing. To recap this mock draft, round 1, pick 2 went to Travis Hunter, the wide receiver cornerback out of Colorado. Pick 33 was Jalen Milroe, quarterback out of Alabama. And then we took at 67 Caleb Johnson, running back from Iowa. Pick 94 went to Kevin Winston Jr., the safety from Penn State. And then 104 was Harold Fannin Jr., my favorite tight end out of Bowling Green. 179 was Riley Mills, defensive tackle out of Notre Dame. 192, Jack Nelson, the very experienced offensive tackle out of Wisconsin. 200 went to Woody Marks, the running back out of USC. 216, Thomas Fidone, the second tight end from Nebraska. And we ended things at 255 with Ryan Fitzgerald, the kicker from Florida State. I appreciate you guys tuning in to all these mock drafts throughout this process. I started this whole series really not planning to do this many, but it's just the way it worked out this year. We were getting a lot of information on prospects. I was doing a lot of research and stuff, so I just wanted to get the content out to you guys as often as possible, and I appreciate all your feedback, all your interactions. I appreciate all the comments, whether we agree or disagree. It's just fun to have the discussions because, like I've said in shows previously, we may not agree on what we want the Browns to do or the path we want them to take, but whatever we want them to do, whatever our belief system is for the Browns, it all comes from the same place, a just sheer passion for this team to be good. And that's what should unite all Browns fans, whether we want it to be Abdul Carter at 2 or Shador Sanders or Travis Hunter or who cares. Your reasoning for wanting the Browns to pick this player or that player is the same as mine. I want them to win games. I want them to be fun to watch. I want them to be freaking good and competitive. That's all we're asking for here. So let's see what they do later this week in the actual NFL draft. We're finally there. So make sure you guys tune in Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be live on YouTube, Facebook, and X, giving you a whole bunch of analysis, breakdown for the Browns moving into the start of the round. Because as soon as the round starts, it's going to be Cam Ward off the board, quick to the Titans, and then the Browns are on the clock, and we will see what they do. And then the rest of the night, we're going to be talking about the player they did pick at 2 and the players that are still going to be on the board as we go through the night, either at pick 33 when things kick off on Friday, or what guys we think the Browns might be looking to trade up for on Thursday. It's going to be a ton of fun. Can't wait to share the night with you guys and be your second screen experience. And again, if you want to join the conversation with us and with the Dog Pack members, go to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. That would be great to do. If you've been interested in doing it at all, do it before draft night, because that Discord is going to be popping the whole night. Really, it's going to be popping the whole weekend. So get in before draft weekend. And again, if you guys sign up on Patreon and you're like, this isn't really for me, or this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or whatever the case, you just cancel. You can just cancel. It's $5 a month. But if you do stick around, we appreciate it. We want to get to know you. We want you in our community, and we appreciate it because it does help out the show. We are an independent podcast, so we do rely on all of our supporters and advertisers and all that kind of stuff to help keep things rolling here at the Dogs Podcast. So that's it. I will likely try to do one more episode to give any last minute updates or news and notes before the draft sometime next week, maybe like Tuesday. But we'll see. It's going to be a busy weekend and week for me, like I said, and gearing up for the draft. But I wanted to get this one out for you guys. Again, happy Easter. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. Have a great week coming up. And we will see you guys on Thursday night. NFL Draft live show, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Can't wait. See you guys then.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order, and that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.
This season, a new hot deal has arrived at Metro. $25 a line for 4 lines with all the data you need and 4 free Samsung Galaxy A15 5G phones. Getting Metro's best deals is easy. No ID required, no activation fees. Get a new number or keep your own. It's up to you. That's 4 lines for $25 a line, plus 4 free phones. Visit a store or go online today. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
When you join Metro Plus Tax, for a limited time and subject to change. Max 1 offer per account.
Hackers don't need much. Just one leaked password can potentially unlock a treasure trove of personal information, leading to stress, pain, and permanently wrecked credit. Don't be an easy target. Get protection by Aura today. Aura protects your identity, finances, and family, all in one powerful app. Get real-time alerts, safeguard your accounts, and block scams before they happen. If identity theft strikes, we help you recover. Stay protected at aura.com/listen. That's AURA.com/listen.